welcome to our channel Horizons Tomorrow. As promised, here is Canada Part 2. Before going into details about this second part of Canada, I would like to disclose a few insights about how we operate as managers running these campaigns for our company and for the Coca-Cola company throughout the whole wide world. As managers, we were authorized to withdraw large sums of money to cover the living expenses of our team and also to cover our living expenses. That money was kept in a saving account under our name, and we were managing all these funds. When I was about to leave for Canada, I withdraw all the remaining money, that I did not use either for my living expenses or for the living expenses of our team, and I took that big amount of money with me to Narita Airport, hoping that in that particular airport, since it is a huge international airport, I was going to be able to exchange that large amount of money into US dollars. Unfortunately, the bank that day was closed because it was a holiday, so I had no choice whatsoever but taking all that amount of money with me. When my dearest friend Dick Moffat picked me up at the airport, this was the very first thing I disclosed to him, and actually the way he reacted was, "I cannot believe you brought all that money with you." So he said, "First thing tomorrow morning, we're going to send to transfer that money into our head office in Stuart, Florida." So as he said, we went to the bank and made that wire transfer, as it was called back then. And actually, I think by doing that responsible act, I gained a lot of trust, not only with Dick, but only with Jack Russell as a manager. Unfortunately, not all the stories have that happy ending. Many years ago, one of our managers in Central America, actually to be more precise, in Panama, he finished the promotion and he took a large amount of money and he went to the casino. And he has lost already a lot. And he was so embarrassed and feeling so bad that he had the guts to call Jack Russell at midnight and told him what happened. And Jack told him, "Don't play anymore. Go to your hotel now." And that happened. And that is just one of those stories in our company. As said before, the excellent results and the outcome of the promotions in Winnipeg and Regina were a key factor for the signature of the working agreement with the Coca-Cola Limited in Toronto to run the whole country. And I was lucky enough to run the promotion in Calgary, in the province of Alberta, the city of my dearest friend Richard E. Moffat, the Tiger. Being chosen to lead the promotion in the hometown of my teacher and friend was a great honor for me. Not only he was giving me the responsibility to lead our team in his own town, but he was giving me the opportunity to show the company what I was made of. I definitely did not let him down. As usual, we put our hearts into making this important program a resounding success. But this would have not been possible without the commitment and dedication of our entire team. Simply a wonderful team with Miriam Iglesias and Henry Jimenez. And together with the contribution and efforts from all the Coca-Cola staff, we made this Calgary promotion a huge success in the history of our company. Although we had our program long before the world-famous Calgary Stampede, something very special happened. At the beginning of the promotion,
I was doing a demonstration with Miriam Iglesias, our great friend, and I must admit that it was always a pleasure to put on a show together with her. Not only because her very special personality, but also because probably she was one of the best female yo-yo players in the entire company. So it was always a pleasure to put on a presentation together with Miriam. When we finished our demonstration, the general manager from Wilco, one of the major stores in this mall, approached us. He introduced himself as Mr. Kemp, and he invited us a cup of coffee. While having this cup of coffee, he explained to us that during the Stampede Week in Calgary, maybe 1 million people will visit the city. And he said that everybody in Calgary wore a hat, whether at the bank, at the supermarkets, at the offices, but white hats were reserved for visitors. And he said to us, you guys are VIPs and you are visitors, so you deserve to be wearing a white hat. So he actually took us to his store, and he actually gave us three wonderful and beautiful hats, white hats, one for Miriam, one for Henry Jimenez, who was not with us at that very moment, and one for myself. We actually were very grateful to him, and we actually wore those hats after putting our badge on top of it, and we wore those hats so proudly. Those hats were the sensation in town, and I'm going to share some photos with you. There was something that made the big difference before and after. After we wore those hats, we were on everybody's mouth.
Our promotion in Calgary started really slow for the very same reasons we had in Regina and Musio. But after the third week, the promotion catch up and we have a fad. We have a publicity boom. And we felt like we were at top of the world, looking down on creation and the only expert. And we were invited to all kind of venues, festival, hospitals, and even rock and roll concerts. Without the permission from the Board of Education, we took our own risk to visit many schools, and we will ask the principal of the school to let us do our demonstration, not only to show the children our tricks, the basic tricks and fancy tricks, but most importantly of all, to teach them how to use the yo-yo safely, not to hit any classmate. Actually, that was one of the best techniques to persuade the principal to allow us to do the show. And then we will invite them to the confectionaries in the afternoon, and that's how we created that yo-yo boom or yo-yo fad. Once our promotion was at the Speak in Calgary, I was contacted by a very well-known journalist who approached me saying that she wanted to write a very powerful article about our successful promotion. I had a cup of coffee with her and even lent her one of my treasures, the one and only yo-yo book, for her to know a little bit more about the history of the yo-yo and what have you. Unfortunately, that was not really the reason she wanted to write that article about. This journalist returned the book and wrote a horrible article about our promotion in the front page of the Calgary Herald. And the title of the article was, "It would have been like opening a can of worms." What happened is that before she published the article, she called our dear friend in Coca-Cola who was in charge of our promotion and asked him if he has permission from the Board of Education to conduct these demonstrations in all the schools in town. And he candidly answered, calling the Board of Education would have been like opening a can of worms. That article actually really affected our promotion and most importantly of all, affected Coca-Cola's image.
Indeed, there was a low blow inflicted to us by someone who posed as our ally and as our friend. And actually, she appeared to be with a cheap skin, but she had a soul of a wolf. So we learned with Blood not to trust all journalists, although I must not generalize. Back then and even now, we had great communicators who happen to be great friends of ourselves, and that we always have trust, and they've been loyal to our friendship. We have to be very honest with ourselves, and although the vast majority of our presentations in Calgary were a huge success, as in every rule, there were some exceptions.
The exception of the rule happened on a sunny Saturday afternoon, and we went together with Dick Moffat and with all our team to a park near Calgary to perform in front of 10,000 people, mostly of them rock and roll fans who were maybe or probably under the influence of illegal drugs or alcohol. Although we play with background music and what have you, but they stopped us in the middle of our show by throwing soda cans and beer bottles, empty beer bottles. And although this has never ever happened to me, I felt real bad for Dick, because he was very affected by this bitter incident, basically because it happened in his own town, in his own city. So Dick took his car and went home, and with Miriam and Henry we went to Lynn's house, a real good friend of ourselves, who actually improvised a party to cheer us up again. And please have a look at the picture in close. But our bad streak changed quickly, and a few days later we attended a big celebration in the very center of Calgary, sponsored by the mayor of the city. As the canons of the liturgy of a good and true yo-yo champion, we went through the ritual of dressing up impeccably and prepared our weapons and our ammunition with brand new strings and a piece of wax to tune up our yo-yos. We headed to the place 2 hours in advance in the center of Calgary. And then I realized that if we were going to put up an historic presentation with one of the best yo-yo players ever, Dick Moffat, we needed some background music, and we didn't have it. Then I had this good idea. I went to the nearest record shop and talked to the manager and explained to him in detail what was going to happen in a few minutes' time in front of his store, and how many potential buyers will that event will attract into his shop. So he, as a good businessman, he smelled the money and he said to me, "Please buy the tape and I will record the best of my albums for you free." And this is how it happened. Stars on 45, which was none other than the best compilation of the 4 guys from Liverpool, that immediately lit the fuse. This happened once before, I came to your door, no reply. Exactly at noontime, we started our show with the rhythm of this catchy music, and we were acclaimed and we were cheered by hundreds of people, office secretaries and people working in downtown Calgary. Yeah? It was magic. It was probably one of the best performances ever we conducted as yo-yo champions. In my entire life, I have never ever seen Dick Moffat so happy in his life. It was probably a revenge from the fiasco of the rock festival. Together with Henry Jimenez and Miriam Iglesias, we put on an historic show. Please have a look at the pictures. Jacqueline was Miriam Iglesias' assistant, and not only that she drove her around, but she had another important role at the local bottler of Coca-Cola in Calgary. She was in charge to manage one robot, a small robot, based on a Star Wars movie called RTD2. And what she will do, she will go into the second floor while operating by remote control this robot, and she will answer kids' questions. And it was fun to watch all the kids touching the robot and having lots of fun with this unique character. When we became the talk of the town in Calgary, we had so many benefits and advantages, like driving or being part of the Coca-Cola fan bus. What a great bus that was! It was all furnished, full with Coca-Cola coolers and snacks and what have you. And they used to carry personalities in that bus, as well as broadcast radio programs. That particular time, we were together with the Golden Arcs company Image, which is Ronald McDonald. And I was actually very happy because when we asked him who he was, he will tell us, "My name is Ronald McDonald." And we said, no, honestly, tell us what is your name. And he said, "My name is Ronald McDonald." He was never allowed to disclose his real identity. Although we were very much aware of how important safety and the integrity of the children attending our demonstrations and contests, we could not only prevent that frenzy that our favorite sport caused among the children, especially when we gave away prizes like cans of Coke, Fanta or Sprite, or a brand new packet of strings or what have you, and it was rather difficult to control. Being on time in all our venues and contests was probably the most important point in our daily agenda, but it was not a task easy to meet every time. Basically because there were many people maybe attending the contest or just watching the contest. So we have to make sure to run the contest on time and to be in the next venue on time as well. Because the very first thing that the owner of the shop will be to call Coca-Cola to say the champion has not arrived and these kids are tearing down my shop. So we try to avoid that situation, but unfortunately it happened more often than we wanted. So in one of those rushy occasions, because we were always on the run and always in a hurry, Miriam and myself finished the contest, got into our car, I turned on the vehicle and put on the reverse. And all of a sudden, I heard this scream from Miriam, "El Niño," which means the kid. And I stopped immediately and switch off the car, get out of the vehicle, and make sure that this little angel was safe. And actually, Almighty God protect that little angel. And we did not even touch him with the pump of our car. He did not even realize what happened. I could not see him through the mirror because he was so tiny, but fortunately Miriam did see him and warned me not to go backwards. So even after so many years, that scream of Miriam echoes in my mind, and unfortunately nothing happened to this kid. I actually gave him my yo-yo and a can of Coke and some other gifts, and he was so happy, and he went back home healthy, and unfortunately nothing happened to him. It was a terrible experience. People often ask me, how do I remember so many stories, so many anecdotes, dates, places, and so many people? I understand that our brain remembers more easily things that happened many years ago than those that happened recently, due to the immense amount of neurons that die in our brain daily. It is also very true that one remembers clearly what one really wants to remember. In other words, one remembers what is really important to one. That's why I remember that on May the 15th of 1981, my beautiful assistant and driver gave me this beautiful cowboy buckle that I have treasured until today, in the very same day that His Holiness John Paul II was shot in St. Peter's Square in Rome. On a cool Sunday morning, Uncle Dick came early to pick us up and took us on a ride to Banff in the Rocky Mountains, where we had lunch and enjoyed one of Alberta's best touristic attractions, a real, true, natural treasure, Rocky Mountains High. Rocky Mountain High, Colorado. What a magnificent and exalted view of Mother Nature passing through the national park of this unforgettable country. Definitely that day was our best day of our entire stay in Calgary, the fastest growing city in North America. On our way back home, we made a technical stop for tea at the world-famous Banff Spring Hotel, where we laughed and enjoyed those unforgettable stories and anecdotes from Dick. While the delicious smoky smell of his pipe made us drunk of happiness as he sipped his tea with Danish cookies. He mentioned to us the number of movies that were filmed in this renowned hotel and all the artists that have participated in them. Listening to Dick's stories was like listening to the best lecture from the best teacher from your favorite subject in school. So much and so much to learn, not only on topics related to our business, but how to be cautious, prudent and wise, as well as successful in our lives. He told us that day, among other things, that Betty, his beloved wife, has been the only love he ever had in his life, and how many cities and countries they have visited together, and how happy they have been all their lives. Today, when I am making this video, Dick has already left this earthly world. At the age of almost 94, he realized that he couldn't do anything else for his beloved wife Betty, and he gave up. Betty followed him a few months afterwards. Not only he was one of my best friends ever, but he was my mentor, my teacher, and I will say my second father. Dick, thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough for what have you done for me. We kept contact for over 40 years in those telephone conversations that luckily I've recorded most of them. And every now and then I listen to Dick's voice, and that makes me so happy because I feel him so close.
Hello, Dick.
Oh, Gustavo.
Yes, happy birthday, Dick.
Thank you very much. I'm certain I'm 93 now.
I know that.
You know that.
Isn't that something?
That's unbelievable. Yes, very nice.
I am so
I'm
lucky.
still moving. I'm still driving my car, and I'm still walking. Not too fast, but I'm still walking.
I am so glad that I could catch you because I thought you were in Betty's place.
No, I was there this afternoon, and she's very tired, so I left a little early.
Okay, and did
I had lunch with her.
Okay, did she realize it was your birthday today?
Yes, she did. Yeah. Well, I had to mention that I'm here because I want to be here with you on my birthday. So your birthday. Oh, yeah, that's right, August 15th.
In Calgary, we stayed at the Western Inn Hotel, where we were very well treated by everyone. And we made very special relationship with the owners. It was definitely our home in Calgary. One thing to remember about Canada, that it is always cool. And when I mean cool, I mean it is always very cold, especially even in spring or in autumn. You have some very cold days where you have to plug in a cable into an outlet in order to warm up your radiator to get your car started. Another good anecdote that happened to us was on July the 1st of 1981 when we attended a soccer game between the Calgary Boomers and the Ipswich Town, a very well-known club from England. And it was July the 1st, and it was the day of Canada, obviously, yeah? And apparently it was already summer, so we went out to the soccer game on our sleeves. We didn't have any coats or sweaters with us, and in the middle of the game, the whole pitch was white because it was snow, you know. I cannot forget that. Talking about sports in Canada, we cannot leave out of this video ice hockey. What a great sport, what a great game, and how skillful all those players were at the NHL. We were lucky enough to attend the Calgary Flames game with a stadium packed, and it was just a wonderful experience. Huh? Although we are not very familiar with the sport, but we enjoyed it to the most. At this point in time, I want to thank all the people of Calgary for giving us such a warm welcome that made our visit to this great city unforgettable, pleasant, and wonderful. After living for more than 3 months in Calgary, we learned about its culture, cuisine, music, etc., etc. And that's why we received that injection of cowboy blood in our veins. And we start preparing our outfit to return home. I already have as down payment the beautiful buckle for my belt mentioned before. I bought this pair of authentic cowboy boots made with a very fine leather and this very special hat for the occasion. I proudly pass immigration and customs at the International Airport El Dorado in Bogota, Colombia, but unfortunately I was not able to catch my last flight to Medellin, so I have to spend the night in a hotel in our capital. While going in a cab to the hotel, I was stopped by two policemen on a motorcycle. They checked me up and they checked all my luggage. And I just said to them, and I said before, I am as clean as God, and they let me go. Early next morning, I dressed again like a cowboy who came all the way from the Stampede city of Calgary, and finally my plane touched down in my home city of Medellin, where my family was waiting for me. After that, I traveled with my favorite windbreaker with the Banff patch on my chest and the Canadian flag in one of the sleeves. And also in my favorite navy jacket, the Canadian flag was always there. I always kept Canada within my heart. Thank you very much for watching this video and looking forward to seeing you soon. All the very best and cheerio!